Let me check that again. Right, not there, not there. It's not there. Well, this isn't very good. We accidentally deleted our fleet oiler. That ain't very good. The best thing we seem to have in here right now, it's the bolster. I mean, it's good, but it's small. Wonder if we can contract something with making this. So, here we are, the planning room. What basically happened was that we was very lucky. Our captain in the Army of Gmodims, Captain Y, just contacted us from his little Y Corp, and they are indeed pretty interested in getting contracted to make something for us. So I think we're gonna check that out. We even have a little quick outline, so we're gonna take a look at that. So basically, Captain Y has a little outline in this planned out here. So we're gonna take a little look at it, just one page, get over to the desk over there and we can check it out. Look at this little flyer, isn't it cute? Right, Project 020, codename Hermod, is a design and feasibility study for a large fleet tanker support ship. Indeed, and fleet oiler. Large amount of resources, interesting indeed. The study must take into account a number of conditions and framework parameters and aims to develop one or more functional prototypes in order to start a mass production and begin period of service. After acceptance of the AoG leadership, well, that's me. The order to develop was given to Captain Y and his research team, the so-called Y Corp. Yes, now it is. AoG criteria: naval vessel, fleet oiler, large amounts of cargo and storage capabilities, 2 to 7 million materials. Yes, that is my request. And some main mining capabilities. Then we have some Y Corp criteria after analyzing. Complete new way of ship construction, fleet self-repair ability. Maneuverability, cruising speed. It's a pretty quick design, it seems, that Y Corp is trying to design here. Very interesting. 120 meters in length and 41 meters in width. Well, that sounds like a pretty good max standard. Cost below 220k materials. Yeah, more expensive than that would be great. So minimal maintenance cost, max energy efficiency. Yeah, well, it's a fleet oiler, so it shouldn't burn up all its materials. Ballot performance, offense, cargo and transport vessel, no combat participation planned. Active decoy system, medium strength sieves, possibility to defend against medium vehicles while being attacked. Well, that sounds all really good. Well, after reviewing this first little outline, it looks pretty good, so I think we should say go. Well, I hope you appreciate getting in here with the Army of Gmodims and, you know, get a little hunch of how we do things, you know? A fleet oiler, you know, it's secret projects. All the projects we do here are very secret, but of course it will carry ICBMs and stuff like that, but it's not that big of a deal, you know? It's a fleet oiler. It's not like it's our new battleship. So I think, yes, it's secret, but it's a kind of small secret, so I thought, like, why not share? Fun for you and listed in the Army of Gmodims and some of you other commissioned officers to kind of know how we're doing things here. So let's get on with this ride and see how this develops. Alright, so here we have a look at the prototype 1. Yeah, it looks a little bit strange. I think it looks a little bit more like the bed of some type of artillery system. I think it would indeed perhaps not prove to be as quick as one would want it to be. Definitely a hydrofoil system, looks pretty classical, but not too much in terms of new design. As you can see, I just came back from some very important spec ops operations, but anyways, Admiral's back here. We apparently got an update from Captain Y, so let's check in on a little bit. Document 2 is here. Well, we all know this text, very interesting. Let's dive in here. Oh, right. Army of Gmodims Project Hermod Update 1 Hull Decision. Ooh, interesting shape. Well, I'm glad it's rejected. Status rejected. Cost of rejection. Yeah, too much water resistance. Yeah, that's gonna be slow. It looks so unmodern. So I'm glad it was rejected, this one. What is happening here? What is he doing? And anyways, I'm glad that was rejected. Not gonna say it with his face, so I'm just gonna send this response. We actually got 2 things being worked on here. Let's see here. So it's a thinner design. Interesting. I wonder if that will work. Then we have an auxiliary design here, which looks pretty cool. Well, I guess we can check out some prototypes of that later on. So let's check out the prototype 2 here. Here we can see this fantastic little tube going on there, which I'm sure will generate a lot of speed. It looks a little bit funny, it had to give that. It's like octagonal, but it feels like it should be round, but that's gonna be very difficult. The shape, however, looks pretty darn sharp, so I do expect this thing to turn quick and move pretty quick. Guys, we have a new update from Captain Y. It's a 26-page document, so let's dive into it. I have absolutely not been playing Pokemon Go all day, I've been doing important things. Well, here we have this 26-page block, so let's check it here. Now it's starting to look like some proper documentation. Isn't that very nice? Codenamed here, yeah, we recognize that. So let's jump into this book here. Table of contents, decision tree, vehicle, drive related whole. Okay, phase prototype, 1, 2, 3, 4, project phase 2, cargo and storage design, summary submission tree. All right, so let's sift through this document here. Specification and framework condition. 2 groups of interested parties for the project who have requirements for the vehicle and the prototypes resulting from the project. This is mainly the Army of Gmodims primarily, in addition to the primary requirements, best practice of experience, the Y Corp, architecture office is used. It is not permissible for the architecture office's changes and proposals to cancel the primary requirements of the AoG. They are only permissible as supplement. Well, that sounds good. We don't want to be overrun by our contracts. Initially, primary criteria. So this is some nice little parameters we recognize from the previous document. No combat participation plan, that is right. Evolved secondary criteria. Right, criteria for the battle performance. Civs. Primary civs should not only serve as the role of pure missile defense, but also to fight against light and medium bandit units. That sounds like a pretty smart setup. That's what we often do too in the AoG for our in-house designs. So, phase 1, primary hull design. First phase revolves around the generical shape designer hull. Okay, so here we have some thrust tables per power, per invest. Yeah. Block space, propeller diameter, so 2 to 4 blades. So here we can see that's very interesting. Here we can see that the double amount of blades does indeed help quite a bit here. So 4 blades with 13 meters of length provide some really good power right there. Okay, thrust per invest. Yeah, that's absolutely much better than any of the else. That's really interesting. So the thrust per invest is higher the larger the blades are. That is very interesting indeed. And it is better with more propellers, with more blades, but not a lot better. That's very interesting to know. And the thing we really win with having big blades here seems to be having, they just provide more thrust compared to the base cost. Yeah, so bigger propellers aren't a lot better. That's interesting, and isn't they scaling in an exponential manner? Of course, and the Lord High Admiral already knew this. Well, here we have I didn't. Very interesting. Learn new things every day. Propeller testing. Yes, indeed, we got it there. Initial requirements. Drive, seizing a vehicle, hull design, steering system, air propeller system. That seems like a really wise decision. So, decision tree. Initial requirements. So, we have classic propellers, jet drivers, sailing systems, air propellers, which is indeed the selected method. One big centered system. And we are going for the catamaran design because of this. And we got hydrofoils to get some higher speeds. We have air propeller system here for the steering as well, and we get alloy armor for getting the lightness, and layered armor to 1 meter layer. Okay, and we got a couple of prototypes coming in here. So if we go through the document here, we can see we got some really interesting data here. Vehicle drive related. Due to space saving measures, the Y Corp decided to use a large centrally located propeller system instead of 7 propeller systems at each side, which would also have been possible to steer, but also a really big weakness, because if someone shoots off one propeller system, we will not be able to go forwards anymore, which would be really sad. Well, let's go to the next page. Here we got hull form related, less block building space, less needed building material. We got some weak points, but we got some redundancy, so I think that should be really good. Skeleton armor should be light and cheap, so it's more expensive than wood, yes, but the only light material is alloy. That's really feasible to use in our modern battle building. Wood is of course really good too, but I can understand you want the maximum lightness. Alright, so here we have this old hull, which is rejected. We're very happy for that. It seems this prototype here is indeed obsolete, because we indeed went for the catamaran design, which we have all here. Looking pretty splendid, I must say. Look at it. The glory of the AoG will blow through this hull and get very high speeds. Very beautiful. So, prototype 3 is obsolete. Alright, okay, we have a really covered area here. Benefits from prototype 2, layered armor while reduced height. Okay, this is confidential, by the way, so you should be very happy. You can see this. Prototype 4 blueprint. And here we have benefits from prototype 2 and 3, much more style. Indeed, indeed. It's not a tube anymore. It is a framework for propellers, not just a simple tube. Tube is a little bit boring. We have to agree with that. Project Phase 3, cargo and storage design. Since the vehicle is primarily intended to transport materials, the type and shape of the storage space and the transport capabilities, therefore, Phase 2 of the Delum deals with this important topic. So here we have storage type, the cost of the storage type, the storage amount, the QM rating, the weight of it, material storage per weight. Oh, storage material invest. So we can clearly see here that the cargo container is just excelling at all regards here. It's just so much better in terms of storage capacity per investment. That's actually very interesting here. I wonder how it measures together with health points. Could have been interesting too. Well, here we see a couple of them there. Storage types. So here we have large, small cargo container, mainly use of cargo containers. With every project and every prototype, important decisions and crossroads have to make at some point on the way at a functioning series of products. This chapter serves to document and trace such designs and architecture decisions. All right, storage related. So here we have some different type of extra details going on here. Now we're getting into some really interesting things here. Closing weapon system sieves. Decision about type of sieves, amount and placement of sieves. So here we have a really interesting X-shaped sieves like this, and it's even shielded, which could be very interesting. Against missiles, rockets, cram guns, and occasionally torpedoes. Sounds good. So what are we going with here? RPM 281. All right. Caliber 60mm. I think 67mm is better, but 60mm is absolutely very convenient and efficient. Type of armor, yeah. Turn head, turret bay. Indeed. Looks like it's gonna be pretty decent designs here. Gunpowder propelled. It's good we don't spend too much extra materials on the railgun parts for a fleet oiler like this. All right. I think it sounds good. Flak head, flak body. Nose. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a mix of anti-munition and anti-vehicle. All right. So here we have two sieve systems, which is the placement of them, and that is rejected here because the alignment blocked the air propeller system. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So that seems like a better placement. All right. So the sieves system, I love that cram was considered. I mean, it works. It's not the best. Missile, laser, and APS. Two sieves, side alignment, diagonal, and bow stern. Single barrel gun, caliber. All right. Looks pretty cool. Prototype 5 we're having there. Architecture and designs decisions, a library. So here we can go into some more details on each of the decisions. Well, this is obviously how you make any decision in when you're designing anything. Of course, you need to have some proper documentation. Don't you? Beautiful anyways. So we're really looking forward to look at the last document. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're getting somewhere here. This is like some real documentation. This is how we always do things in the Army of Gmodism. Whenever we're developing something, we're not doing some kind of joke. We always have, like 900,000% of the time, we always have documentation like this. It's how we do it, you know? You have to stay professional. Well, anyways, I'm looking forward for the final results of this. I think it's gonna be a real good fleet oiler, I can tell you that. I'm pretty sure we won't miss the old, what was it called? I don't know. It's deleted from the workshop, it's deleted from my files. Who cares? Here we have the prototype 3. I think it looks pretty darn cool. Now we're getting a little bit more modern design, open up the tube a little bit, make it look a little bit more open and less constricted to turning, because having a big tube that's not open anywhere, it feels like it would turn kind of more slowly. We have a sharp design going on here, and we got the same type of turning. Gonna be really interesting to see how we're gonna be able to fit the internals here, but having the outer hull be 2 meters of alloy is probably a wise decision. We're now looking at prototype 4, and the prototype 4, as you can see, has a much more decorated tube for the propellers, which just look a lot better. We have a pretty wide feeling to this, and other than that, we're retaining the main features and feeling of the design. This is like a cool little additions and cool small details that really make it come together and really look like a professional Army of Gmodism design with gold trim and everything. So here we can take a little closer look at the sieves system. We got some system going on here, which is the sieves. We got some metal shielding in front of the belt feds. No, these are not belt feds, right? These are 1 meter autoloaders. So that's good, because if it was belt feds, you couldn't have ejectors like this. Well, it's coming together pretty well here. It looks like a solid system. It's being mounted here. We got some control units going on there with some redundancy as well. Not sure if this is an interesting little thing. Not that I think we're gonna encounter a lot of EMP, but if we got EMP'd, that's not like a huge issue like that, but yeah, one of them might fall off like that, so I don't think this surge protector is doing much. We really need to EMP insulate things if we're able, if we are going to protect them. But anyways, here we have the general sieve system. We have a lot of shields on here, so it's gonna be protected. Even if shells are penetrating, they might bounce off. The design of it looks really cool though. It's like an X from above, and I'm sure this system will be able to shoot down incoming missiles pretty reliably if just this turret neck doesn't get shot off. To take the decision on what propellers we would have, this is the aforementioned little test. So here you can see the thrust they would provide, 10,000 here, 20,000 there. So of course, having 2 blades will make it have more thrust, but it will not make it be more efficient. If you have 3 blades, however, it will be kind of unbalanced, and that will not be very good. If you didn't know that, I think it's pretty funny. You can see now, it now has asymmetric limit there. Asymmetric, thrust reduced to 98%. So that's something that can be good to know. This one provides like 76,000, this one provides 38,000. Well, good to know the testings behind the results. Well, here we have prototype 5, which is really starting to look like a ship that is indeed coming together. We have the sieves system installed, we got some basic rudimentary detection, and we got it here. Isn't that quite nice? Alright, so here we have some correspondence. Dear sir, here's an update. Construction information, phase 2 and 3. Important fundamental decisions about storage system and sieves. Brand new sieves, Mantis 60. Very interesting. So we got some new cool files to check out there. So we're very pleased to see the results and the rigorous testing. Indeed. Well, that's of course our normal testing procedures. Regards. Acta non verba. AoG Invictus. Regards, Lord High Admiral Gmodism. As understandable, we had some slight issues with some of the testings here, so I was just wanting to have some extra testing about the turret neck. It looks a little bit weak, so just get that back into the testing board, yeah? And it seems that it's all going pretty well with that. Captain Wise explains it's rarely a problem with the turret neck being blown off, not seems to be a weak point according to Y Corp. Interesting indeed. And ooh, top secret component. variant, which is intended to significantly increase the survivability of Project Hermod in combat. Details are currently top secret and only in development office itself. Interesting indeed, Captain Y. Well, it's gonna be very interesting to check that out later. And of course, some obligatory praising of the Gimli battleship's unbeaten status in the Gimli battles. That definitely deserves a applause. So please applause. Thank you. We got some new documentation incoming here. 37 pages of documentation. That's exactly how we do it in the AoG. In the Army of Gmodism, we want to have good documentation. So let's dive in there and check that out. The final design is closing in, so let's take this 37-page beast and dive into it. We have the library going on here, so let us check what's going on here. Initially, secondary criterias. Well, I think we know this document by hand now. Looking pretty darn cool. And, well, obsolete, go there. So really closing in here. Just take a little refresher on what's going on here. Yeah, looking pretty good. Muscle brake extension. We got some more detailed decisions here. Type of sieves, developing sieves indeed. We got a shield, metal. Seems to be pretty decent. We decided the same thing here. Nose is gonna be shaped charge and the anti-munition is gonna be flak head. Alright, Gmodism Confidential. So I really hope you enjoy looking at this thing. This is, you know, the inside of the AoG development command. Isn't that pretty cool? In any case, sieve systems going on there, sieves alignment, 360 degrees coverage. That's really good. Barrel amount per sieves. So we got some comparative studies going on here. And we can see now the sieves getting installed here. So we're gonna check that out more in detail in game here. Very amazing indeed. Project 5. Now we are in the fourth phase. The type of engines and engine generation, if necessary storage, are worked out. Dual engine system, engine type, type of engine, battery recharging system, amount and placement of engines, amount and placement of battery packs. In order to make the vehicle as efficient as possible, fuel consumption in patrol and chill mode should be as low as possible. That makes a lot of sense. Here we have fuel engine, double blueprint. Well, that's really beautiful. I think this looks absolutely amazing. And we have a little battery pack there with some surges to try and protect them. 6-cylinder, 4 carburetor, turbocharger units. Alright, inline turbocharger, adapter, crankshaft. Okay, we have a little list of materials going on there. I think it looks pretty convincing to me. Fuel engine, installation price. So here we have RTGs. That's gonna be really expensive. Fuel cost per second. Electric engine there. So we have a little comparison. The classic approach, a large engine room for everything, is not easy to implement due to the hull shape chosen. In addition, the division of the machines into several separate areas should ensure the longevity of the entire system as a redundancy in the event of damage. That's what I'm speaking about. That's exactly how you should think to make successful designs, which we of course aim to do in the Army of Gmodism. So here we're going through and checking the decision tree. So we're going with a mix of engine systems, fuel and energy. We're getting some RTGs too, 4 fuel and 4 battery packs splitted as far as possible in both hulls, which will be ending up into prototype 6. So we got some detailed instructions going on there, and prototype 6 status ongoing. Well, that's looking pretty amazing indeed. Decision for redundancy. So the CPU system is chosen and precision programming etc. will follow in the last phase of the construction process. That sounds absolutely great. In order to keep the core units as small as possible, it's also planned to distribute the necessary processor capabilities to the individual sensor areas and make more available than actually necessary. That sounds like a wise decision. Dual core, well, core to duo, it's a really good CPU architecture. Decentralized alignment. Very smart to not get one-shotted. We got some more details going on there. Will not commit to one type of sensor and a variety if possible. Infrared, good for fast moving things. Cameras 360, wireless snoopers, sonar buoys, IR camera gimbal trackers, coincidence range finders. The normal visual camera is really good too, but well, we'll see how everything ends up. Well, I believe that is indeed the full documentation right now. Dear Lord High Admiral, I'm pleased and proud to report that Y Corp is now able to provide an almost production-ready prototype. That is absolutely fantastic. So, ICBM missile fairing is being worked on. Saluting, greeting. Very interesting indeed. So, Captain, good idea. sent the prototype designs and relay it to design integrity team for further assessment. Yes, indeed. Our team will check it through a little bit. Glorious regards. In Lord High Admiral Gmodism. That's how we speak normally here. The ICBMs have a very beautiful little self-destructing measure. Very advanced breadboard stuff indeed. Y-Corp has some very advanced knowledge about the bread. Y-Corp likes to emphasize Y-Corp, a trademark of Y-Work, has made it a goal to offer the greatest possible user satisfaction with the least possible amount of work, and is happy to answer any questions about their products. Oh my god, I think the quality assessment team will be quite busy this weekend. After the quality control team was getting back, we had some different things to check. One of them was nukes will spawn even if the target is less cost than of a nuke. Basically, it's gonna spend more materials to destroy the enemy. And well, the quality control board kind of thought that was maybe a little bit wasteful. But in any case, we changed our minds. You see, Y-Corp thinks that because of the amount of all the materials we have, any threat should be countered with maximal force indeed. It all makes very much sense, of course. AoG Central Command must agree that overuse of firepower must never be quenched. We draw back earlier statement about using too much material, as it is true that excessive violence is always the right answer. In from the depth at least. And of course our honored captain will absolutely agree to this motto, thinks it's a promising attitude. Well, it seems we have the final design sent over to us, so let's take a little look at it in game. Ladies and gentlemen, here we almost have the finished design. Not quite. Here we are actually having a tiny little issue, and that is that IR trackers don't see through portholes. Also, this thing would block the view if it could see through them anyways, because the trackers really rely on line of sight. So that was addressed and has been fixed, so we're gonna look at the final version. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the final version of the Hermod Fleet Oiler constructed in the Y-Corp by Captain Y. These are now mimics indeed, and inside of here we don't have IR, but we instead have normal camera trackers. Here you can see the beautiful design is really coming together. The propellers are looking absolutely splendid with some engine parts on them there to really give that propulsion feeling. AoG Hermod. Well, I think we should get this up in the air and do check it out a little bit. So from above it gets constructed like this, and if we see the cut-through view here, we can see the different parts and interiors going on there at each of the sides. It has a really high capacity for storage, of course, because that's its main purpose. If we check a little cut-through view here, we can see the armor and the components coming together here. Looking pretty solid. And it's AO because it's a fleet oiler, and the H is added because it's a hydrofoil. Hydrofoil fleet oiler, if you were wondering. Well, I think it looks pretty splendid here. We're definitely gonna take a little tour in this thing. But first, let's check the weapons. And we have a beautiful active decoy system, which of course will not hit on us like that. You may notice this thing. This is a mining arm, an automatic mining system that will mine when we are in a resource zone. If we, however, go away from this resource zone, you can see that the mining arm is neatly folded here. Anyways, let's take a little walking tour here. We have a beautiful little command center area. We have mining cams and we have combat cams. I think we can switch to the mining cams. I believe this is mining cams and this is the combat cams. So we got some control going on here. We can indeed see even the construction because there is a secret project, which is the ICBMs. Well, this is our matros here standing ready, or maybe it's a lieutenant. Here we can access the engine bay. Doesn't that look quite splendid? So you, if you are enlisted, you may, serve on this tomorrow. Who knows? Here we can go out and we get some additional detection. We can walk up here too to access some of the cargo area as well. I think we should get in here again. Good to have multiple entries and exits. So looking all splendid. Let's go out here so we can go here. The entire ship is quite walkable, so we are really having some good role play abilities here. Very nice indeed. Just if character movement was a little bit better in this game. In any case, let's move around here. We can see we got RTGs stored here, and we can open up to go back to the mining facility area, as well as climb up over to the other side if need be. There is of course no way to make a nice walk over because, well, yeah, we kind of have a big propeller tube in the middle of this craft. So we can go here. We got a repair station to repair other ships, and we have pretty similar designs here. We can walk just right by the storage containers. So we can go in right here. We got the other civs turret. We got some smoke installed there too in case we get lased. It's really good to have some smoke. And here we have the bunk areas with some beautiful portholes outwards too. So we are being able to feel the 4 matroses right here. We can go down and they just sleep right above the engine compartment, which is very nice because doing that means that it will stay warm here. Isn't that nice? Think of everything. Here we're having some shower areas. 4 personnel can shower at the same time, and we even got the toilet areas. This has all the amenities that could be wished. The Y Corp has really put together a well thought out and functional design that can field both personnel and, well, a lot of cargo. Not a little cargo, basically 7 million in cargo. So we can carry a lot of cargo here, and we even got logos, of course, because that is very important. So I think we'll need to check out some of the combat performances, but I believe we will just check out its movement speeds here. So we're getting up to 43 meters per second when moving like this. The final cost of the design is 180,000, which is really good for a design like this. So that is quite good. Top speed of 55. I expect it goes up a little bit faster when it has to move at top speeds. In any case, we're gonna set it to automatic and we're gonna spawn some small airplanes. Now you can see we're constructing a vessel. All right. As said, we're gonna carry some ICBMs, and that's of course really useful, but maybe for countering a little bit larger targets. I think our decoys are doing a pretty good job at decoying here, which is very nice, and the guns are, oh yes, the ICBM really hit there. Awesome to have some ICBMs going on here. We're shooting a mix of shells. We're shooting both heat and flak in order to deal with the multiple different targets, just because switching the ammo isn't the easiest thing to do. Fortunately, the ICBMs will take out these threats very efficiently. So yeah, this thing spawns nukes, because as said before, excessive violence is always the right answer when meeting opposition, as Captain Y and I discussed earlier. We can also spawn a, let's see here. Let's drop in a couple of Marauder and see if we can deal with that. However, what is really good here is that we have some security lights. So if we're having some issues here, we can see that the warning lights does indeed light up and tell that there is an issue here. We're moving at like 61 meters per second, so we're speeding up here a little bit to not get hit. Of course, we're staying out of sight here because we don't want to get messed up. And you know what? Did you see that? It actually switches between 2 different ICBMs dependent on the target, if it's an aerial target or if it is a naval target. This is steam jet propelled and it deals a lot of damage. Let's see if it's switched here. No, yes, it switched indeed. And here it goes. We may spend some materials on our nukes, but if we're meeting any foe, we're gonna make sure to mess them up real hard. That's real good, because this thing isn't really adapted to face combat really. So it's good that we're launching some nukes to be able to deal with the problem efficiently and securely. We're basically not even scratched over here. Well, indeed, it does perform very satisfactory and very efficiently. So this is indeed a extremely efficient and useful design that is now added to the Army of Gmodism's second frontier fleet. This thing will be appearing in future iterations of the Nether campaign, because of course this is what we are collecting some of the crafts like this thing with. And of course also, just like the winning bomber designs, they will appear in the second chapter Frontier Fleet together with the Hermod Fleet Oiler. Here we can see the nuclear missile that is spawning as a torpedo, and which spawns depends on what enemy we appear. So we have the Gremlin and we have the Triton, and which of them spawns depends on what target we are meeting. This one deals with underwater and naval vessels, and this one deals mostly with aerial vessels, as you can see there. Well, The hair mod looks absolutely stunning here. The interiors are perfect for AoG personnel. You, the enlisted of course. Maybe you will serve on this next week. What do you know? Maybe, maybe not. In any case, Captain Y for Y Corp has really put together a really nice design here and put together some pretty nice documentation too. So for that, we will say applause. Very, very impressive indeed. But wait, there is more. We have a little extra look at a little extra project actually that Captain Y has been putting together with the Y Corp because the Army of Gmodism needed a low power radar outpost so that we can remove the fog of war and just have some eyes, you know, in the nether to see whenever some enemy approaches so that we can take swift action. So let's dive in and check that out. And as said, there is a radar station to look at. Lastly but not least, we have a beautiful little radar station going on here. This is the Lyttepost and it will make sure that enemy units are detected using this beautiful radar antenna, cleverly designed in a tower like this. So the Lyttepost works as follows. We have a space for 2 personnel, we've got an AI core and some amenities right here. We can then go outside and we have some different structures to walk around on. Here we can control the fortress if need be to move it in any direction. We got some basic engines going on there. Here we can board this area from these, well, very secure little rubber pads so that we won't accidentally crash into anything. So we can go up in here to provide service if we don't come from an air vessel. Everything is beautifully gold trimmed, as is very well designed and good to do in the Army of Gmodism. Here we have a little drop pad for balloons if that is your desired mode of transport. So this is of course only 6,000 materials. It is designed to be as cheap as possible basically. And this is the beautiful radar tower, really cleverly designed like this. So we're basically having them go down like this and provide a tower structure like that. Captain Y really has some super smart tricks in his sleeve, and you can see this little radar tower has an amazing inherent design on how the radar dishes get positioned due to its algorithm of positioning. We also got some basic detection on top of here to make sure we have some type of tracking towards the enemy to share with other vehicles that can pick up inter-vehicle transmitters. So there we have the Lyttepost as well. Very beautiful and is already in the second chapter Frontier Fleet. Well, there we have it. I hope you liked getting some insight on how we work behind the scenes here in the Army of Gmodims when we develop new units and combat vessels and stations and stuff like that for our military empire. In any case, if you haven't joined the Army of Gmodims, you should probably join it right now. You just self-assign the Matros 3rd class in the Discord and you are enlisted. Or if you want to be a commissioned officer, well, there's the Discord for you. In any case, now you get in the Discord automatically if you, the commissioned officer is Patreon, of course. In any case, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do leave a like, and I just need to give a huge thanks to Captain Y for putting together this absolutely stunning documentation. That's just so RP. Sorry for getting out of character. In any case, this is your Lord High Admiral Gmodism. We're signing out.